Welcome back to another review. I got a good whiskey for you today from a small distillery but a big flavor profile. Edradour 10, a Highland Scotch whiskey matured in Oloroso Sherry. If you haven't heard of Edradour, it's probably not a surprise. They are very small. They produce 100,000 liters of whiskey a year. On the contrast, Glenlivet produces 10.5 million liters of whiskey per year. So, very small distillery, but they make some really good whiskeys, and this one is no exception. This is a super good whiskey. This whiskey is Cask Strength, 59.2% alcohol. So I'm not sure the wife's going to like it, but we're going to see if she does because it is very sweet. And it looks like a jammy coffee. Look how dark this whiskey is. It is, I just want to drink it right now, but we gotta wait. So, really nice color. Normally the whiskeys that I review have been, golden, ambery, copper, straw. This is super, super dark, and it's only 10 years. I love this specific color on this one. Somebody shrank my bottle. I'll fix that. There we go. Now I got this whiskey from a whiskey exchange with some buddies way back in February, so I don't have the actual bottle, but I haven't had it yet. So we exchanged like 8 or so whiskeys between each other. Very fun process. I recommend doing that with your buddies. Okay, let's nose this. I can't wait anymore. This is such a dark whiskey, and I'm getting the wafts. It is so sweet, so fruity. It honestly right now reminds me of you mashed up raspberries, plums, dates, and some brown sugar and just made a jam out of it. This is one of the best initial noses I've had on the channel yet. There's some maple syrup in there. It is, look, these legs are super, super slow. This is going to be a very viscous, robust whiskey. I cannot wait to taste it. The color of this is what keeps wow, this looks like a coffee to me. And in fact, there is a little bit of espresso note in there, nothing too crazy. It's a tad ethanol-y, which is actually a compliment because it is 59.2% alcohol, but everything is so sweet that it masks it really well. And the really nice deep fruit notes mixing with the brown sugar and toffee really help this thing just balance out and be really pleasant to sniff. Hope the palate's even better. Okay, first sip. Oh my. Actually get a little bit of pepper. Real quick, just editing right now, and I gotta say, my tongue issue, I figured out what it was. When I was driving home from New York this past weekend, I had a Fireball, not the whiskey, the candy, and that really jacked up my tongue. So, whenever you hear me talk about this whiskey being hot or peppery, it's wrong. That was hot right there, but not in a super bad way. It is very, very viscous and syrupy. It really has that Old Forester 1920 Prohibition on there. It is laying down thick on that tongue. This is going to be a really great finish. And this is the highest alcohol Highland I've had, I think, ever so far. And right now, very, very strawberry, raspberry jam on this. Less plums and raisins on the palate than I had on the nose, but even a little bit of orange zest in there, and there's some caramel, some honey. This thing just has everything. I love what Edradour does. I actually got some auction Edradour coming, so stay tuned for that. This is a great distillery. I don't care how small they are, they make fabulous, fabulous whiskeys. So if you see them, try and grab one. They're going to be a little more expensive. Again, we'll get to that later, but they are worth it because they take really, I'm not saying other people don't take pride, but they're really small and they do stand out despite the fact they're so small. Yeah, it is really, really, it's strong. As you can tell, it's punching me in the tongue a little bit, but it's only really quick. It's not a long punch. I'm getting a lot of cherry cough syrup now. The cherry, but the cough syrup for the layering and the syrupiness on my tongue. It is such a great start to this finish. And right now, I'm getting a lot of oranges in my back of my tongue. This is a very fruity, very sweet, and I'm gonna call it dark sweet notes. The caramel, the brown sugar, nothing light. There maybe be a tad of vanilla in there, but not really. Definitely some honey. Obviously, you got some raisins and grains in there, like some cereal notes, but this is just overtaken by some amazing syrupy jam. I love this right now. I'm gonna say that peppery hotness is always on every sip. Sometimes when you drink these whiskeys and they're cask strength, the pepperiness kind of goes away after 1 or 2 sips. I'm on the 3rd one and it's still hitting, but that's fine. That just means you're gonna drink it slower, which is great because we want to savor this. This is inexpensive, not inexpensive, but for what it is, it's a little more expensive than you would normally pay for it. So, that's what the ratings are. Okay, nose rating. Yep, still very sweet and very inviting. Way less ethanol than the ABV would say. And because of that, I mean, I'm just looking at it and smelling it, I'm just raring to go. So I'm going to give the nose a 4.5. This is a fantastic nose, especially for something that's as young as 10 years, but it is so good and so well balanced that it makes you want to drink the whiskey. And I think that's one of the most important things that a nose does for you. It is the first impression of the whiskey aside from the color, and it's like, if it's a good nose, it's like, okay, you're gonna drink it. So this is really solid. So 4.5 on the nose. Okay, palate rating. So it's very hot, and it might be because I had some weird chicken for dinner. Not weird, but like some differently spiced chicken for dinner, and it's really burning my tongue more than normal whiskeys have. But after that initial burn for me, it's really sweet, fruity, and pleasant. And the finish, as we'll get to next, is also very nice. But I can't get over the hotness that is getting me right now, and I think it is going to make me sip it slower. It is good, so I'm gonna knock that palate down to just a 4. Not like it's a bad score, but it would be much better if every subsequent sip my mouth kind of like adjusted to it and I got less of that pepper. The pepper is very strong, and it might, that's Miss GC, push some people away. So we'll see what she does when she gets to her sip. So for the finish, very strong, very long, very cherry, orange, brown sugary honey, and it is just lasting forever. This is a very good finish. I might want to give this finish a 5. So I think I'm gonna give this finish a 5. It's good, especially for a 10-year whiskey. They packed a lot of robust, full, rich flavor into this thing, and it just sits on your tongue and inside of your mouth forever, so you can just make sure that you sit down and enjoy it much longer after you're done the glass. So because of that, 5 on the finish. Okay, so for the value, I didn't buy this, but in my current store, it's retailing right now like $189.99, so $190. My friend that bought it got it on sale for like $160. So I'd say, well, we can like even that out to like $175, $180. But because that it's so high for a 10-year scotch, there's other 10-year scotches out there for way less money. So I think that if you're going to buy this, you're probably going to be a little more seasoned whiskey drinker than like somebody starting out. So it's less of like an introductory level, even though it is 10 years, and more of a like enthusiast kind of whiskey. So the value there is only for people that are like going to already spend money on whiskey. So like somebody like myself, or like my friends, or just other people in like the big like whiskey circle would spend money on this. So I'm gonna give the value a 3.5, strictly because there are a lot of 10-year whiskeys that are just way cheaper. Like Lafroy 10 is like $50. Ardbeg 10 is like $50, $55. There's a lot of them, and that's $140 less than this guy. And I realize there's bigger distilleries and they produce more, so the supply is up and the supply is down. I get that. But despite the fact that I think it's a great drinking experience, I do think that it could be a little cheaper, especially for a 10-year whiskey. It is still very good, but 3.5, I'm going to stay firm on that. Okay, so overall, 17 out of 20. That's a good score. This is a good bottle. It's a little steep, but other than that, this is a very solid experience. I enjoyed it a lot. I do not think the wife's going to like it, but we can all have fun with the reaction later. But regardless of that, hey, if you guys like these reviews or every whiskey video that I have, Whiskey Wednesday, if you guys want to subscribe, that'd be great. Make sure you like it so it gets pushed out to awesome people like you, and we'll see what the wife says. Okay, time to see if my wife likes this whiskey. I don't think she's going to, though, because it is cask strength. That's the only reason to think not. However, I want you to smell that and see if you get some jammy fruit notes that I got, which is why I gave it a 4.5, because it invite you in to drink the whiskey. So what do you get?
I think I get some strawberries in there.
Strawberries, wow. Different than maple. That's awesome. Now, I will say, take a little bit of a smaller sip than you normally would and maybe hold it for like a half second longer just to get your tongue ready for the burn, because again, it is burning me. It's a bit peppery, but after you swallow this, exhale, and we'll see what happens. I hope she doesn't hate it. Let's go. Oh, no.
No.
No, okay, wait. Is it pepper? Is it super peppery and hot
I
then?
felt it in my eyes.
Felt it in her eyes? Okay.
No.
Okay, no. That's what my 2-year-old does right now. So, like I said, I did not think she would like it. But I wanted to just experiment and also add a reaction to the compilation shorts I've been doing with her lately. So, thank you for that. I am sorry you didn't like it.
Yeah.
I will see you guys next time in the next review. See you then.